I love Lagos. I love Lagos. Lagos is a great place to
Why did
live
you
in.
leave?
Huh? Why
Why did
did
you
I
leave?
leave?
If you love Lagos so
As
much.
they say, na condition make crayfish bend. So I left because there are many reasons. So what kind of country is this
Mm,
that people cannot express their will democratically? A lot of people live in poverty and sometimes even abject poverty in
mm,
Lagos, and I've experienced that too. Why do people have to live like this? Why do you have to? I mean, bribery, just the corruption from top to bottom. They say fish rots from the top, from the head. The only problem I just had a problem with this problem with chronic power outages. Nigeria will be transformed if we can have continuous or near continuous power generation. It's possible. It can be done. Much smaller countries have done it. I don't understand why uh, that is not an issue for people in authority. When I don't know if this is true. This I know that thing where the Minister of Finance said all power belongs to God when a youth copper was complaining that he doesn't have power. I say, well, what can I do? All power belongs to God. I'm like, whether that's true or not, okay, that's the mentality people carry. They just don't care. As long as you have a generator or a power plant in your backyard, you have no concern about the fact that the thing is that if the people prosper, you will prosper too.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Lost Lagosians, a podcast covering topics about Lagosians, Nigerians, and Africans in diaspora, as well as the challenges and trending topics regarding Africans in the diaspora. I'm your host, Brother Mike. Happy New Year again to everybody. Thank you for being on the show. It's been a wonderful year so far. I hope you guys are having a nice time. Thank you for the support and the love and the encouragement and all the many, many feedbacks that we've gotten regarding the show. We plan to bring you new content for the year 2022. So today we've got this very special treat. I'm really honored and excited to have Dr. Cruze on here. We go way back. I'm just so excited and just so happy, and you guys are in for a treat. So Dr. Cruze, thank you for being here. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing very well, Brother Mike. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, thank you. You are out in the Midwest, is that correct?
That is true. That is true.
How's the weather?
It's cold. I mean, it's winter. It's cold. It's snowing.
Oh, it's snow. Oh, yeah,
uh,
yeah, it does snow. Yeah,
it,
yeah,
it, it,
yeah,
it
yeah.
snowed. It snowed yesterday, and so yeah. It's a typical Midwest winter. We just kind of duke it out until spring.
All right.
Yeah.
And spring, you have everything blossoming, and I look forward to
Yes.
spring. Always looking forward
Yes.
to
Yes.
spring. Which Nigeria would spring be considered Hamatan? Is that right or no?
No, I think no. Spring should be the beginning of the wet season. I think. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Hamatan would
So
be
spring
like
is
winter, kind of.
yeah. Sometimes you yeah. It's winter when it gets cold, which is kind of like compared to how cold it gets over here, it's
Mm,
nothing.
not even close. Yeah.
But yeah.
I remember when I was coming to the States and my mom had given me a sweater. I was like, I hear it's going to be so cold where you're going. Here's the sweater. So I wore this sweater, which I still have to date, by the way. That Nigerian sweater does not work here in the cold. So that's something
Oh
that I didn't
no,
know.
no. No, I remember when I came back United States back in the early mid 1990s. I stepped out of the airport and it was brutal. It reminded me of when my mom would take me to the fish market and they would take
Mhm.
the freezers where they put the fish.
All
You
right.
have to stay inside. That's
Uh-huh.
what it reminded me of. It's like so. But thankfully, my sister got me a nice jacket, and I wore that jacket for a long time. Got a nice winter jacket. And it kept me warm. It was ridiculously cold, but at least then I've of course experienced much worse winters since
Mm-hmm.
then.
Mm-hmm.
And I, for a while, staying in the Midwest, in the East Coast, and moved to the Midwest, where I've been for decades now. Almost, I
Mm-hmm.
guess I can say decades.
I kind of want to talk about it a little bit. So you came here, did you come through New York or New Jersey? Because a lot of people that come to the States, they
No,
always come through New York or New Jersey or something.
no, Washington D.C. area.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
So it's what do you
yeah,
call it?
yeah.
It's the
Washington D.C. I
DMV.
was in Maryland. Yeah, yes, yes. So that area, Washington D.C., Virginia, Maryland, and that's
Mm-hmm.
where I stayed. That's where I went to college, and then I moved to the Midwest,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of been there in and out ever since.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I married someone from the Midwest, as you can say. So
Right.
if you can put it that way, yeah. And so then that's our life. We kind of love it here, and there's no way I'm going back to the East Coast.
Is it because it's colder on the East Coast per se?
No, I love living here. It's just
Okay.
there's more land, there's more space. People are
Mm.
nicer. So yeah, it's just a
Apologies
different.
to our audience in New York and in the East Coast. I want to apologize about that in
No, I
advance.
understand. I mean, I understand people from there. I do. I lived with them. That was where there's nothing wrong living there. I just like think that this is more an idyllic. You're closer. I feel like you're closer to Earth. You're not living in some kind of apartment up there. Not
Mm-hmm.
the way where you can only just see this urban jungle. When I look out of my window, I
Mm-hmm.
can actually see a forest, a real
Mm-hmm.
forest. I can hear
Mm-hmm.
real
Oh.
animals.
Mm-hmm.
So when there's a snow on the guy, I can see footprints of animals walking track through
Mm-hmm.
my property.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you feel close and
No, that's good. Sorry to interrupt you there because that means that people in the East Coast may not have the opportunity because there's no land mass necessarily.
at least the place I lived. I used to live back in the East Coast. It was just it's different. It's an urban jungle. You go run in the rat race, get in the
Mm,
metro
traffic.
rail, going traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Getting on 95 or all those highways, and just kind of run. So when I came to the Midwest, I was like, wait, hold on. And this is someone that grew up in Lagos. Lagos,
Mm-hmm.
and it just that was life. Even actually, you know what? I love Lagos. I love Lagos. Lagos is a great place to
Why did
live
you
in.
leave?
Huh? Why
Why'd
did
you
I
leave?
leave?
If you love Lagos so
As
much.
they say, na condition make crayfish bend. So I left because there were many reasons. So when I left, that was when Abacha was still president or head of state, whatever.
Okay.
I left. The day I left was the day they killed Ken Saro-Wiwa,
Oh, wow.
Nigeria. So
Mm,
that left a kind of bad taste in my mouth. That what kind
mm,
of country is this?
mm,
That people cannot express their will democratically.
mm,
Um, the year I was finishing high school,
mm.
there was the
June 12th,
June 12 riots for
MKO Abiola.
MKO, and that was terrible. First time in my life I saw a tank roll up in the parked a
Wow.
tank in front of my school because
Mm,
people were rioting, people, university students, and just
mm,
massacred people. It was terrible. I saw a tank. I can't believe I didn't know
mm.
tanks were
What
that
part of
big.
Lagos is this? Is this Ikeja?
No, this is Maryland. I lived in Bagada. I lived in Bagada. I went to school in Maryland.
Oh,
And
okay, okay,
so,
okay, okay.
either you walk, sometimes you can
Mm.
walk, but you
And
are better to
sometimes
take
like
one
they
of the
shut
buses.
down, don't they shut down transportation sometimes? And there's no like
Oh, yeah.
no, you have to walk.
Yeah,
All the buses don't run.
when, yeah, yeah, well, of course, when that happened, there was no bus running, so you had to walk home.
Wow.
Walk took an hour or two to walk home from school, and
Mm-hmm.
just it was bad. Just what happened then really scarred. I think people of my generation, at
Mm-hmm.
least when I graduated, because that year I graduated secondary
Mm-hmm.
school,
Mm-hmm.
and that was just bad. And I was never political. I didn't really care about politics.
Mm-hmm.
And up to that time, that's when I really saw how politics can affect people's lives for good and evil. In Nigeria, it was just bad when Abacha do the palace coup, took over power. People were afraid. People were
Mm-hmm.
afraid.
People are
People were
modified.
talking about, well, but yes, people are
Yeah.
afraid. We are talking about civil war again,
Mm-hmm.
in Nigeria because of what happened, and they arrested Abiola, and they also arrested Ken Saro. I have connections to that part of Nigeria, so
Mm-hmm.
to see that happen to Ken Saro,
Mm-hmm.
who wrote Bassi and Company. I don't know if you
Mm-hmm.
remember.
I
If
remember
you
that. I
watch
remember
Bassi
that.
and
Yeah,
Company.
yeah, yeah. I remember that.
We
Yeah.
used to watch Bassi and Company all the time. I just love it. And to see for them to do that to that man, even I'm sorry, even until today, I don't buy gasoline from Shell because of that. Because
Mm.
I hold them responsible for what they did to my people. down there. So anyway, I say I love Lagos because I would have fun memories of growing up, living there. So it's just good memories. My good memories of just going to church, growing up, meeting friends. Just this, those and
Just the
whenever the
freedom,
few
yeah.
times yes, the few times I'm back, I just one thing I realized is that if you go to Lagos, if you have money, you can live a very
Not if you have
comfortable
money, if you
life.
have money.
Yeah, yeah,
Because money is
you
different from
can live
money.
a yeah,
Money
exactly.
is
That's
like
true.
real
That's
money.
yeah. So very, I just realized it's just like wow. That and a lot of people live in poverty and sometimes even abject poverty in Lagos, and I've experienced that too. I've been on both sides. I've experienced prosperity in Nigeria, and I've experienced extreme poverty in Nigeria in Lagos. Not even knowing where your next meal is going to come from. Those kind of things. Going to use the restroom in a shalanga and all that stuff, and then having to have your own private bathroom, in your own, exclusive place where you live in Phase 2 in Bagada. So those kind of life that we lived, and Lagos. It's just good just to be there. I just there's a lot of informative experience I had in Lagos. Just those good memories.
Yeah, it was like the SDP and then the NRC, the political
Oh yes.
parties, and all of that got annulled.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
That was
that's
kind of
true. SDP.
interesting.
My goodness,
Yeah, SDP,
that's
now
good.
our man, Kingi Bay, now
Yes.
your man, it was Bashir
Yeah.
Tufa
Yeah.
and Moshood
Yeah.
Abiola.
And then I remember. So I remember one of the things about Tofa of NRC. They said life is tough, but Tofa will make it tougher. Apologies to any person that is a fan of Tofa,
Yeah.
but that's what people said. But that's not what I didn't care about politics at that time. I really had no. I did not care. It wasn't my thing. But after when that happened, my father told me that I have to go back to United States. Got me my brushed off my passport and got everything. And even that process of leaving the country was so much corruption. You have to bribe people to do anything. It's like I'm complaining, but it's just like, why do we have to do this to ourselves? Why do we have to live like this? Why do you have to? I mean, bribery, just the corruption from top to bottom. They say fish rots from the
From
top,
the top,
from the
yeah.
head. Yeah, and so that's kind of how it was. It's just kind of like that. So by the time one left with all these things going on, it's like, like Andrew, I'm checking out. Um, and I left. I did not intend to come back. Um, and when that happened, but when my mom came to see me some years later, she said, "You have to come back. You have to come see your father, come see your mom." Like that. So I came. I came back, and I had a good time. And by that time, most of those things had gotten better. Abacha was dead. Obasanjo was in power, and it started getting better. Things started getting better compared to those were bad times when I left. They were
Things are
bad.
better now.
Uh, things are much better. When I came in and I saw, one thing that impressed me when I came back when Obasanjo was president was the telephone booths, walking
Oh, that's the
telephone booths.
Nitel, I think. That
Yeah,
was
they were
Nitel.
working. Those were working.
Emphasis on them working.
Working. They were working, and I think then when I came back again, then we are people were saw that progress from to cell phones, and then using the internet and stuff like that. The only problem I just had a problem with this problem with chronic power outages. I just like Nigeria will be transformed if we can have continuous or near continuous power generation. It's possible. It can be done. Much smaller countries have done it. I don't understand why that is not an issue for people in authority. When I don't know if this is true. This anecdotal thing where the minister of finance said all power belongs to God. When a youth copper was complaining that he doesn't have power, I say, well, what can I do? All power belongs to God.
Wow,
I'm like,
yeah.
whether that's true or not, okay, that's the mentality people carry. They just don't care. As long as you have a generator or a power plant in your backyard, you have no concern about the fact that the thing is that if the people prosper, you will prosper too. People at the top will prosper too. That's just a given. because a tide lifts up all boats.
A rising tide
That's
lift up all boats.
the rising tide.
Lift
Rising
up all
tide lifts up all boats.
Yeah.
So if you have a yacht, it doesn't matter. If you have a small canoe, it doesn't matter. It will rise everybody. But some people.
Yeah. So would you advise people in Nigeria today, or people in Lagos today, given the progress and improvement you've described, to just hang in there? Or would they advise, maybe if people were to leave Nigeria and an opportunity came, that they should just take it?
Well, I've seen it both ways. People like me, as I told you, come here, you settle here, you made life for you. And so going back is going to be really difficult. You really have to uproot everything that you've established here. But there are some people, friends of mine, even, people that have American citizenship that I know that have moved back and are having a great time. They
wow. Okay.
They're doing well. They're doing well. They are movers and shakers of industry, they built things, built schools, or talking about buildings. So I know some of my friends that have done well going back. I actually had a friend that said he's not coming back to U.S. I'm like, what's wrong? I said that not that anything is wrong with the U.S., but that Nigeria is where things can work. You can make it work. You just have to make it what you want of it. So yeah, but that person, he had a different type of mentality. He was more entrepreneurial. Just he was entrepreneurial and it didn't. He was able to make it work. But I've had other people that they went in, the system just frustrated them to the point that like, I can't do this. The quest for bribe is too much. The corruption from top to base is just too much. Nothing works that should work.
It just seems like everything is broken.
You come in with ideas and you have the means, you have the money to do it, but they frustrate you. And so like, please, if you don't want to help, I don't need to. You can take a horse to water.
But you can't force it to drink.
Yeah.
So your advice is, for the audience, like if they get an opportunity, they should just go for it, or they should not proactively, or they should proactively make an effort to leave. Especially, I'm asking because of the, like if you have like his religious lens, and people are always like, oh, whatever God wants, God's will be done. So they are not effectively trying to make an effort to look for opportunities to get out because maybe it's God's will or not God's will.
The thing, sometimes opportunity presents itself for people to move out of the country. That's what I know. It was for me. My dad said like, you got to go back to States. Here you go.
Just for the audience, because like you guys, you were born here, so that gives the opportunity. Because people might be like, okay, who is this guy just saying just go? So okay, because some people were born here, so it's easier for those kind of people to just be able to say, yeah, let's go, because they have the American passport.
That's true.
Yeah, but for those who don't, how would you speak to those people?
Well, here's the thing. There's one thing to leave, and there's one thing to make it. So you see, when I left as a teenager, just finished high school, I came in. So my experience was very interesting because I lived with fellow Nigerians, fellow Lagosians when I came here. I stayed with some of my family for a while, and I stayed on my own, but I live with roommates. And so I had to.
Although you were a citizen when you came, so this
I guess
people would think it'd be easier for you because you're a citizen.
Well, maybe probably some things were easier for me because I didn't have to prove that I didn't have to worry about deportation. I had no concerns about that. Okay, where will you deport me to? I remember one time when I was in Germany, when I was traveling from Nigeria through Germany to US, and the German immigration people were giving me. I was like, "What are you going to do? Deport me to Nigeria?" I got my home is my home is in US.
Yeah.
What I was like, please let me go there. So I came here, and so I came here. When I came, guess what? I had $6 on me. Wow. I had $6 cash on me. That's all I had. When I came to United States, I bought a cup of coffee from Dunkin' Donuts. Waited.
You remember?
I still remember. I bought Dunkin' Donuts coffee. The first job I had was being a cleaner. I was helping people with cleaning toilets, and that was very, very hard. It was very because you have to do it really quickly. The more toilets you clean, the more pay you got. So and it was cold. It was winter.
Sorry, I can't get past that.
Yes, true. The more toilets you clean, the more you got paid. So I realized like this is not for me. I was like, this is not for me. I got a job. I was going to college. I started a community college, and I wanted to go to a regular university, but I couldn't afford it. So because I
Mm,
had no, I didn't know much about Pell grants and all that stuff. I
mm,
kind of worked in, I didn't have any, I hadn't taken my SATs at that time, so I had to
mm.
take my SATs when I got here, and then um, what else did I do? Okay, no, I worked at a security firm, the rent a cop kind of thing. I don't know why people thought why they gave me that job because I was so skinny. If anybody wanted to
Ah,
steal anything
okay.
from the store, they just needed to walk over me. You know? So, but anyway, that was what the thing I had. No, but the thing that I liked about that job, they sent me different places. They sent me different places I could go to. I mean, CES. What at CES? That's a convention for electronics, consumer
Consumer
electronics.
electronics. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I went to CES. I remember going to do some things near the White House, somewhere near the walked to the store near the White House. I would just go all over that place. By meeting people, meeting Americans, or not say, uh, you know,
yeah.
Americans who grown
Interacting
up. I
with
got
people.
to
Yeah.
interact with white Americans, black Americans. I remember the first Midwesterner I met. He was so nice. It was a guy from Nebraska. So nice. I was
Mm,
like, where are you from? And he started telling me about Nebraska. I was like, wow, where is that? It's in the Midwest. Like, is that how old you are in the Midwest? Yeah, I've known a lot of Nebraskans that since then, and
mm-hmm.
that's it's true. So, I'm just kind of so I remember one time I saw some medical students, and I was
Mm-hmm.
just talking to them, and I was like, I heard med school is very expensive, and they said, yeah, it is, but don't worry about it. When you finish, you can pay it back. If you work hard,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
pay it back. And I was like, okay, well, good, because I've been thinking I can't go to med school because it costs a lot of money. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
because it costs a lot of money. I was like, okay, so that gave me an impetus to go. So that meeting was I guess a coincidence or a God coincidence because it helped me to like don't worry about the money, just do it. And that's the thing about, if you money is like a seed. If you sow it in a worthy enterprise, you'll gain a better benefit. Because when I look at what God
Mm-hmm.
has done for me, when I look at I remember I came with $6.
Mm,
My net worth is a lot now.
mm,
you know,
mm.
I don't,
Now,
as
is
if
that
I'm
because you
boasting, but
chose med school? I mean, no, not at all. Is that because you chose med school, or because some people will go to college and they read like art majors and they
yeah,
spend about the same you spend in med? So I'm trying to pin two different things into
all right.
this conversation. One of them being you mentioned that seed. The number one is you actually being smart enough to know that even if I go to med school, I'll be able to pay it off. So the first part of that is you met somebody in a very casual
Mhm.
conversation,
Yes.
and that guy sowed a seed that you it wasn't really a seed, but you made it a seed in a way
Yeah.
because you held
You
on
made it
to it.
what it is.
You made it
Yeah.
what is, yeah. And the guy, you don't even know the guy, you don't remember him today,
Hmm. I don't
like
remember. It's just
you don't
it
remember
was
his
a
name.
chance encounter. It was a chance encounter. I was working. I was working. Putting on my uniform and just started. I say, oh, where do you go to school?
Cleaning
Just talk about
toilets
school.
or making your
Yeah,
$6 or
this was
whatever.
the security. This is the security one
Security
because I
job.
like
Okay.
I can't clean toilets for the rest of my life. So this security was a little bit better, and so I just happened to talk to this man. I think it was
Mm,
one or more, like two, but one of them was talking to me, and
mm-hmm,
just kind of told me he's a medical student that goes, I think, University of Maryland, or I'm
mm-hmm.
not sure which one, but because there are a lot of schools, good schools, Georgetown, George
Yeah.
Washington, Howard University. So and so he told me that, and that makes it makes so that took away from me that hindrance about the
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
financial aspect of it,
Yeah.
and so I decided to go for it. This has been something I wanted to do for a long time,
Mm,
since I was a younger child. So I wanted to be a doctor. So by the grace of God, what he said helped me.
All right, guys, that is all the time we have for this week's episode. Please join us next week as I continue our conversation with Dr. Cruze. Part of the feedback that I've been getting is regarding the length of the podcast. Some of you like the long format, and some other people like the short format. So please leave a comment below and let me know which format you prefer. You can also send me an email, lostlagosians logicspodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, guys. Really appreciate it. Please follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and like our Facebook page. And also, if you're on YouTube, please subscribe, leave a comment, hit the bell notification, and so you can get notified whenever a new episode is released. We also would appreciate we also appreciate if you're listening to this on Apple Podcast or Google Podcast. So please go ahead and kind of leave a comment and leave us a feedback. We value the feedback. Just go ahead and leave us a feedback. Until next time, we'll talk to you next week. So please stay tuned for part 2. And we talk about a lot of stuff in terms of how Dr. Cruze was able to survive. He's a really good storyteller, and it's just quite interesting. I just can't wait to get the second part of this out to you guys. Thank you for listening, and Ikoni Baje. Bye now.